those of you who know me well will know I'm not a very formal person. This is going to be kind of an informal concert. I just scribbled down the order right before, about 2 minutes before. So some of these songs, actually the majority of these songs are songs that I've arranged myself throughout the years, mostly for churches. Some of them will be like pretty well arranged, that like I know most of the notes that I'm going to play. And some of them will be like pretty improvised, in that like it will be pretty different every time I play it. I'll try to say a little something about each song before I play it. There will be a couple of pop songs, like a little bit of Billy Joel, a little bit of Mozart, just to show you I can do classical. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start off with the song that I started off with this morning called Welcome to the Table, and it's a very kind of boogie-woogie bluesy version. The thing that makes boogie-woogie boogie-woogie is this really classic bass line in the piano. And it's basically just 3 different chords, the 1 chord, 4 chord, and the 5 chord. Like, a lot of you are familiar with the blues, it goes, then back to the 1, and then the 5. So it turns out Welcome Table follows that pattern pretty closely, so I'm able to kind of weave the blues into that. Another classic kind of boogie-woogie pattern. Throw that in there a little bit. So, Welcome Table. That's just. Yeah, I have one song that I'm using reading music for, and I'll let you know what that is.
I was just curious because you did appear to be looking at it.
Sure.
Just wondering why you closed it up.
Appreciate the question. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. The next song, actually, can you all hear me all right without this?
No, yeah.
Oh, no? Okay. Let's get this ready. There we go. Is this better? So, the next song is a version of Lord Listen to Your Children called Praying. And actually, I'm going to bring this over here. And this song I draw from a lot of kind of like funk influence. And like Stevie Wonder is like a classic artist that uses a lot of funk. His song like Superstition. So by itself, the melody goes like this. Which is cool, but it's not as cool until you add the left hand. The left hand is hardly ever playing at the same time as the right hand.
they're like doing this kind of thing, taka, 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 taka. So, they never played at the same time. The left hand's just bouncing back and forth, kind of like bongos or something like that. So, I use that kind of rhythmic pattern for a version of Lord, Listen to Your Children Go in Prayer. So, enjoy. Also, people seem to think this sounds a lot like kind of Peanuts. Like Vince Ferrari, whatever that is, but let's see what you think. One of my favorite hymns, My Life Flows On, and this is one where there's a lot of different ways to kind of arrange a song. One of those ways is to kind of change the melody up, like I did with Welcome Table. I just did a lot of improv on that kind of thing. But this is one where I will focus more on changing the chords on the bottom side, and to give it a much more jazzy feel. This is actually a song that one of my piano teachers that I had for just a couple months before I moved to Goshen helps me with. So enjoy My Life Flows On. Bill Withers song, and it's called Just the Two of Us. And I'm going to deviate quite a bit from kind of the normal song. I'll be adding this is one where I'll just be improvising quite a bit, so I'm not really sure exactly how it'll go, but we'll find out. But I will throw in some kind of bossa nova samba type stuff, which is, I'll give you a quick example of that you can listen to during the song. It kind of bounces back and forth between the left hand. So that's kind of a bossa nova feel. Not totally. So if there's actually someone who knows bossa nova really well, don't quote me on that. So here's Just the Two of Us. So this next one, I think hopefully most of you should know. It's Piano Man by Billy Joel. And this is another one where I don't have it all planned out, but we'll get to the end somehow. So here's Billy Joel. So this next one is back to Lucas Special. This one is As the Deer. It's, I think, a song that we would sing in camp sometimes, and I think most of you would know this. It's, and this is one where I kind of mesh a song into it that I really, really like from an artist called Jacob Collier. And what he does is, Julian showed me this artist, Jacob Collier, and I only had 1 month left of the year, and I listened to the song so many times just in the very last month of the year that ended up being my most listened to song for the whole year. I just got absolutely obsessed with this song. And there's a really, really cool part in it that a lot of musicians get drawn to, because Jacob Collier pulls us out of the normal key and takes us kind of on a journey around and then brings us right back to the very same key. And it feels like you changed keys without actually changing keys. And I'll give you a quick example of that so you can hear and listen for it when it actually comes into song. So we're in the key of E flat. But then we take a little detour. That's out of the key. And now we're in F. And it feels like we've changed keys, but now we're back home. So it's just something that my brother and I were just so obsessed with. We were just like, this is just the most amazing thing. So whether you appreciate it or not, I threw it in the song. And so here's As the Deer. So this next song, this is where a little bit of Mozart kicks in. I'm going to do my best at Mozart's Sonata in C.
I couldn't help myself. I added a little something different to the end. I thought Mozart would approve. So this next song is Precious Lord. This is the one that I'll actually be reading some music, so wish me luck. Let me just say who this is by, because it's not someone you might know. Mark Hayes is the one that actually composed this one. Glad we're done with that. Reading sheet music, it's not my thing. This next one is a version of He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. Hopefully a lot of you know this one. This is another one where I change the chords, but keep the melody at first, and then we just kind of have fun with it and see where it goes. It's a short concert. This is my last song actually today. This is the one that I played earlier at church. This is one of the more recent songs that I've arranged, and one of the ones that I'm most proud of. How I do a lot of my arrangements is I'll just be messing around on the piano before I go to bed, and I'll find some kind of riff or lick or something that I really like, and then I'll just kind of keep improvising on it until I find, like, all right, I need to find some kind of hymn that I can tie this into so I can play this for church. And yeah.
How many instruments do you play?
Oh yeah. Well, piano's my main instrument now. I play guitar and some like cajon and drums and stuff, and some saxophone, and those are the main ones. And a little bit of harmonica, but that's been a while. So yeah. This is All Creatures of Our God and King, and one part that I want to point out is what I'm really drawn to in piano is rhythm, more than melody, I would say. And my brother's kind of the opposite. He really loves kind of how the harmonies gel together, and I'm someone who just loves to find some interesting rhythm. So this is a song that really draws on that, and I started off when I was making this song experimenting with this. So that's how that came about, and then I found a really cool like counter melody that I really liked, and it goes like this. So those are both parts that I kind of throw into the intro of the song before I get to the meat and potatoes. So this is All Creatures of Our God and King. I do have one more if you guys want. Last time I did this concert about a week ago to kind of round off my time in Goshen. I don't know if all of you know, but I'm actually in transition here. Next week I'll be moving to Lancaster, PA. And so actually that's what brought about this little concert here. This is round 2 of a concert I gave in Goshen to kind of say goodbye and kind of put a cherry on top of my time there playing piano for different churches. So this last one, this last one is will be a little more improvised. This is actually the very last kind of arrangement that I've messed around with, and this is mostly help from, or the whole idea came from my brother Julian, who most of you would know. Amazing, amazing pianist. And I heard his version that he made up on the spot. That's not what this is. But this is kind of inspired by my brother Julian, just doing some cool stuff on, actually, I'm not going to say the name of the song. You can figure it out.